Jacob, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Drew. But wouldn't more already disappear out of the holodeck?
I think the only thing holographic is your brain. No, you fool, we're going to review an animated movie on this here podcast.
Brilliant! No, wait. Why would anybody want to listen to two geeks like us?
Because, you fool, these people are so very easily entertained.
Okay, Drew. Narf!
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who sells the bare necessities, Jacob.
Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host. A man, just like a bear, has to find a tree to scratch.
I want to fight you over this. But you have missed an important part of this introduction.
What would that be?
My name.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, Drew. Welcome, Drew.
How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm doing very well. Doing very, very well. Like, yeah, this is a very interesting that we are doing this on Facebook Live and recording it. So
we're not sure how often we'll do this. We're kind of trying it for now.
Yeah, this is very much a beta test run on this. So yeah, doing very well. Work was interesting. I nearly got hit by a truck.
Well, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, well, I've been nearly hit by trucks several times. I had to dive into trunks before.
I'd pay money to see that.
Sadly, where I work, they don't have cameras outside, but it would be hysterical.
I bet it would be.
Yes, it would be. Yes, I'm actually doing very well. Down in the chat, I know someone asked me that. Teddy, yes, I'm doing very well. So, yes. So, how are you doing, Drew?
So, yeah, I've been doing pretty good. Didn't nearly get run over by a truck like you did, but because I mostly just stay in the office and send stuff to print.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, when you work in customer service at a grocery store, you have that has a tendency of happening.
I'm aware.
Don't look at where they're going.
I came from that
yes.
industry, and I'm not in a hurry to go back.
Yes.
All right. So, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? I've had in the downtime with the coronavirus going on, and for weekends, I actually have the weekends off. Praise the Lord, I've got the weekends off.
Amen to that, brother. Of course, I've had the weekends off for the past 5 years. So
yeah, I was watching. Finally watched Rio.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fun film. It was fun. Like the animation for the character, like our anthropomorphic birds and dog, were very good. Just everything else was kind of bland.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I finally watched Rio, and I thought it was an interesting film. I had the second one on Blu-ray, and yeah, it was an interesting film. I watched a slew of other films. The Greatest Showman, which is like such a good movie. Lincoln Lawyer was another one, which was really good. Several others. For some reason, I was bored and I'm drawing like usual. I draw for a lot. And
what's new?
What's new? Pussycat.
Whoa. I don't know if I'm keeping that, but I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah, why not? I was watching Cowboy Bebop.
Ah, good choice.
Yeah, I bought that. I bought that on DVD a couple of months, a couple of years ago. I watched all the way through it. For audience who don't know what Cowboy Bebop, it's an anime that came out in the late mid 90s.
Yeah, like 98.
98. I think so late 90s. So yeah, it's a very good anime. It's very well animated. One of the reasons I bought it, because I think it first came out for American audiences on Adult Swim or Toonami.
I think that's where I first saw it. So
yeah, probably.
Heck, that was the first anime on Adult Swim.
I got you,
if I remember correctly.
Okay, yeah, that was one of them. Or well, I think Toonami was the main reason I started watching Toonami because Thundercats was on it.
That I understand.
Yeah.
Well, admittedly, when Toonami... Okay. I didn't have Cartoon Network when Toonami first came out.
Yeah.
But when I got Cartoon Network, even though I was in junior high, 7th grade, I kind of spent a lot of time watching Toonami no matter what was on.
Gotcha.
That's how I ended up watching everything.
Cool.
It's like, I've been watching Nickelodeon for years. Cartoon Network, I'm moving over there and not leaving that channel for a long time. And plus, as much as I like SpongeBob,
right,
he can get annoying after a while.
Yeah.
And that was about the time its funniness was losing its touch.
I gotcha.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, they're going to be like...
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. That is 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob. Well, one thing, we didn't have Nickelodeon.
That seems backwards.
Yeah.
What? Not have Nickelodeon, but to have Cartoon Network. Seems backwards to me. But then that's because my experience was the other way around.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the thing was, because we didn't get cable or DirecTV or something like that until probably the late 90s.
Okay, but that's the thing. When we didn't have cable, we somehow did get Nickelodeon on like channel 13 back in the day. Back when we only had like 13 or 14 channels. Yeah. And we didn't get Cartoon Network until I was in 7th grade.
Huh.
When we got 90 channels. And still nothing on it.
True.
But anyway.
True. So yeah, I've been going through Cowboy Bebop. I love the show. It's great. Mm-hmm. There's always that goofy rule that's like, if it's not good in the first three episodes, 2-3 episodes, they're always saying that Cowboy Bebop wasn't very, be like, if it wasn't very good in the first 3 episodes, it wouldn't be any good. But the first episode
is good because the first episode I saw was episode 4.
Yeah, which is
just because of timing.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a really good series. You had checked it out, or you're just very unfamiliar with anime in general. I know there's a lot of stereotypes when it comes to anime, but it's really good. Mm-hmm. It's really good, and I would highly recommend it. So yeah, if you find the need to go find something new, you can find it on Blu-ray and DVD or
pretty much. Although right now, I think I know it's on Funimation's app for streaming.
Yeah,
Funimation Now. I don't know where else it's streaming, and I think right now your best bet on getting the Blu-rays or the DVDs at right this minute is going to be like Amazon or some other online store. And we all know right now how hard it is to get something in from there. That's not, a necessity.
Yeah. You mean a bare necessity?
Perhaps.
Maybe. So yeah, that is what I've been watching. What have you been watching, Drew?
Well, those who have been listening to the show know I kind of went off the deep end with Star Trek Picard came out.
Just
a touch. And that finished up, I think, 2 weeks ago, which that season finale was good. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, that Thursday night time slot that I was using for that, I ended up switching to Doctor Who because I needed to get caught up on that, and I did not realize that I was still a season, counting the season that had already finished.
Yeah,
this current season, I had not finished last season.
Oh.
So I just finished the first season with the female Doctor.
Okay,
whose name the actress's name I can't think of. My apologies. But I just finished that, and I'll be starting the current season with the episode named Spyfall sometime this week.
Spyfall.
Yeah, gee, I wonder what the name's based off of.
Yeah.
Perhaps. In the meantime, I've mostly been watching a lot of YouTube videos recently.
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to focus much on some stuff right now.
Yeah, that's
and of course playing some video games. But you did forget what we recorded last Tuesday, or you didn't mention it.
No, I didn't.
No, so for last Tuesday we recorded 6 episodes, I believe.
Yeah, it was. But
Yeah.
we actually did some shorts.
Just in case the worst case scenario, if we can't record, we still got you people some content coming when the time comes, because we watched and then recorded 6 episodes based on Looney Tunes.
Yes.
All the good Looney Tunes ones and some weird ones.
Yes. Very much so.
So, hopefully everything goes like we all want it to. You'll hear that sometime way in the future when our comments on the coronavirus are going to seem antiquated.
Probably.
But just in case, in the next couple weeks, if something were to happen and we can't record for quarantine reasons or something like that, we've got you content. We got you over a month's worth of content.
Okay.
So there's that. Plus, we got content for you if necessary.
Exactly.
Over a month's worth of content. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, I did watch a movie this last Sunday.
Yeah.
Called The Robe.
The Robe. Okay.
It's from the 50s. It's the first CinemaScope release.
Okay.
It's about the Roman officer who actually crucified Jesus.
Oh, interesting.
It's actually a good movie. I'd suggest giving that one a shot. It's the first time I'd ever watched it.
Huh. Okay. I did fail to mention that I did start watching a movie somewhere. I'm not going to say where I started watching this movie. It's on Netflix right now. It's called Code 8. It was an Indiegogo project that came out a couple of years ago, with 2 CW stars decided they want to do a movie, and so they Indiegogo it. And I believe right now it's at number 3 nationwide. And it's interesting because they build the world up. They give you more context of what's going on in the world and why these people they don't really explain why people have powers, but they have superpowers, and it's interesting. It's a very, I'm looking forward to getting into it more.
All right.
So yeah.
So
that's what I've been watching.
That's what you've been watching.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess we'll move into what would normally be our news segment.
Yes.
But
well, actually, I do have a.
You do have some news?
Yes, I do have some news.
Okay, well then give
For a
us
change, I have news.
That's just surprising considering how things have been going. But yeah, give us that news.
Okay, so in our news section for this week, Walt Disney has shifted Pixar's original movie Soul, which was originally slated to go to theaters June 19th. Of 2019, but will be released later on November 20th.
Okay.
And Disney's fantasy adventure Raya?
I think we decided it was Raya.
Yeah, Raya. Yeah, Raya. And The Last Dragon, which has been bumped to March 21st, 2021.
Okay.
So we got a few movies that are being bumped, obviously, because what's going on in the world right now.
Man, there's so many movies coming out at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. It's
because that's where everything's being pushed to.
Mm-hmm. I think in between this podcast and our other podcast,
we are going to have a stacked winter.
Exactly.
We may not get any original episodes. It may all just be movies.
Although
for Cellcast, anyway, we should still have some stuff.
Yeah, we'll have some, but towards the end of the year, what it looks like, we're going to be having a lot more movies coming in theaters.
A lot more reaction episodes, possibly.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. So speaking of possible reactions later on, they've just released the digital release home box office release right now. It's how the digital releases are doing right now. And Trolls World Tour is actually at number 1.
Okay. It is DreamWorks, so I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand there's quality there.
Yeah.
At the same time, I hadn't seen the first one. These movies could be good, and I don't know because I've not seen the first one. Of course, I've not seen the second. But still, number 1. That's just because people are bored. I'm almost convinced
that could be a factor. A friend of mine who's a vendor where I work, he said he and his family had watched it the night before, and he said it was really good. And I was like, okay, I'm going to trust Jacob's judgment on it, because I've told him about Onward, and him and his family are really wanting to watch it, and apparently they're watching tonight. Which, yes, go see Onward. It's really good.
Yes, Onward is very good.
Carry on, my wayward son.
There will be peace when you are done.
Exactly.
Moving on. Before we get hit with a copyright strike for just quoting a song.
Yeah.
There is something you haven't mentioned yet.
Okay.
But I will go ahead and bring up. And special thanks to Jim for reminding me.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim Bob.
They're making a digital / live action Robin Hood movie based on the Walt Disney.
I didn't know that.
If they get the same actor for the live action, it was Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's Bill
They
Murray.
get Bill Murray to play Little John. That's almost meta enough.
Yeah.
I would be happy.
I agree. I agree on that.
But I still am worried about that Robin Hood movie is a little different.
Yeah.
And I kind of have some nostalgia for it. In fact, we need to put that on the list eventually.
Definitely. I enjoyed Robin Hood as a kid.
But I don't know about making this one. I've been a little iffy on all these live action ones just because some have been excellent.
Yes.
Some have been a thing that exists.
True.
Which is the nicest thing I can say about it.
Yes.
And some have just been lying and calling themselves live action when they're really entirely animated.
The Lion King movie.
And takes out the best song in the whole
Yes.
thing.
Oh my god.
But that's all beside the point.
Yes. Yeah. If you want our reaction to that, go
listen to our reaction episode on The Lion King.
Yes. It is very, very interesting.
But according to this, it's planned to go straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah,
according to Jim.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So
yeah,
that must mean that Lady and the Tramp did fairly well, which I still have not watched.
Me either.
Yet.
Me either.
So yeah.
Thanks, Jim, for that.
Oh yeah. Those of you in the chat room, we want to hear what y'all think, what y'all remember from the Jungle Book. So if y'all go ahead and write in at any time.
Yeah, because I remember I wrote this earlier because Jim, who's currently in the chat, said he remembered watching it as a very young child because both of us were brothers. So yes, we did watch it as a young child, and he doesn't remember a whole lot, but he remembers Baloo the bear and the Bare Necessities.
Right.
And I think it was Wendy at Primo who said,
I was about to bring that up, but go ahead.
Yeah. Can you bring up her exact?
I will continue to do so.
Yes, if you would.
If I can find it.
Yes.
Wendy and Primo said, "The Bare Necessities is my favorite song. Baloo is my favorite character. He is so funny and sweet. Love when they quote John 15:13 in it."
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, because Bagheera actually quotes that.
Yes.
Because like when
although it's a lot creepier when he does it.
Yes, it does, but it's kind of it's good. It's good all around.
Oh,
it's good all around. Because I vaguely remember that as a kid because I didn't remember the quote, but when I watched it this time, I heard that and I was like, oh, that's perfect, and we'll get into why Bagheera said that in a little bit later on. Spoiler alert for those who have not watched the movie. If you haven't, why haven't you?
I say, what are you doing here outside of supporting us?
Yes.
Listening to us talk about a movie if you haven't seen it to not be spoiled by it.
Yes.
Of course, I'll admit I hadn't seen the original Jungle Book since I was a kid before I watched this one. So
yeah, I've had the movie on Blu-ray for years.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, I had a copy sent from Disney Movie Club, which I would highly recommend because you get some really good content out of that in some cases, and then they send you the randomest thing in the world. I actually do have another copy. I have another copy of the Jungle Book, and so we may or may not be giving it away during the live stream.
Maybe near the end.
Maybe during the end.
Just to make sure y'all stick around.
Yeah, for if you want to stick around, you may get something in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. By the way, like the hats, they're still for sale. If you want a hat, let me know.
How many do you have left right now before we have to go make another order?
5?
5? Okay.
I think 5. Probably. Well, maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, 5.
Yep.
Don't bump the microphone.
Don't bump the microphone.
Bad microphone.
Oh, Jiminy.
Yeah.
All right.
Either way.
So, has anyone posted?
Yes. Miss Diana Vega said George of the Jungle. What? I think that's the wrong one, Miss Diana.
I do think that is actually George of the Jungle.
That is George of the Jungle.
Which I would think it'd be closer to Tarzan.
Yeah, it
than
is.
the Jungle Book.
It's more of a parody of
yes.
Tarzan, but it's in the jungle at least.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, if nobody else has got anything, I guess we will move on.
So, Jim in the chat says, "Is Baloo in this voice by the same that does Tailspin?" No, he doesn't.
It's not the same guy.
It's not the same actor. Because this was recorded back in the 60s, and Tailspin was recorded in the early 90s.
Yeah, and on a much lower budget.
A lot lower budget. They got some very extremely well-talented artists to do, and I think Drew's going to look it up for a second.
Yeah.
But some high-end voice actors to do that, and it sounds the same.
Saturday morning cartoon voice actors.
Yes.
Just to be fair. Of course, they say that, and Ariel, Jodie Benson?
Jodie Benson.
Jodie Benson did still play Ariel in the show.
Well, Jodie Benson, just Jodie Benson.
Yeah, but she pretty much played Ariel the entire time, and then James Woods has always, and I do mean always, been the voice of Hades in the Hercules franchise.
Yeah, Jim just
not always.
Yeah, so if you are interested in what Banter is, the podcast I just mentioned, there is a link in the
okay, IMDb is being very stupid.
The comments right now, so if you want to go check them out, they're on Facebook. As Drew looks up information.
I typed in Tailspin, it gave me everything but what I was looking for.
Let's begin it.
Tailspin TV show.
No.
Computers, you gotta love them.
Oh, by the way, be like, who out there actually loved Tailspin as a kid? I did. I truly did. Like, beyond belief. I loved it.
So, Baloo in Tailspin was Ed Gilbert.
Yeah.
And Jim Cummings was King Louie.
Of course.
And Shere Khan was Tony J.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think is the same.
No, it's not. It's not the same actor.
No, it's not.
No.
And
they sound like him.
Tim Curry was in it?
Uh-huh.
I forgot about that.
Yes.
And I'm looking to see, because I think Ka's in the show too.
I don't remember Ka's in it, because I had the first season, and no, correction, I'm sorry, I saw it on Disney Plus, which, if you don't have Disney Plus, go get it. It's really good, and it's relatively cheap. And plus, most people are home right now, so why not?
Why am I not surprised that Jim Cummings has an entire block of characters?
Mm-hmm. Well, it is Jim Cummings.
Okay, I'm not seeing... Oh, and Frank Walker's in here,
yes,
too.
Of course.
Ain't that a surprise?
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm not seeing Ka listed, so he must not have been in here. I thought he was one of the ones they brought back for that, but that may just be his model for Robin Hood, I'm thinking of.
Well, they actually reuse a lot of modeling for Robin Hood.
So that's going to bring us into our spoiler-free review section for The Jungle Book.
Yes.
For those of you joining us for the first time, this is where we just kind of give our basic thoughts on it without actually spoiling the movie.
Yes.
We will get into our full spoiler-filled section here in just a moment.
Yes.
So, when did you first see The Jungle Book?
When I was a very small child. We didn't watch a lot of the 1980s Disney films, except for Little Mermaid. And other than that, there's fond memories of watching this as a child. And yeah, definitely Baloo and Bare Necessities. And I always liked Bagheera. I always liked Bagheera because he was, the Black Panther. It was kind of like the wise mage of everyone, just trying to make
he is
Mowgli do what he needs to do.
He is a Black Panther, but not that Black Panther.
No.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, he doesn't rule a country. He's just a really cool panther. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoy this. I enjoy this movie. It's a treasure. as most people would call it, is not a national treasure, but it's a treasure.
This doesn't have Nicolas Cage stealing the Declaration of Independence in it.
No, but yeah, I love the Jungle Book. Love it. It's fun. It's nostalgic beyond belief, and like we said before, it was the last project that Walt Disney ever worked on for his passing. What is your spoiler free?
Well, I'm fairly certain this was another one of those. Like you, I saw this first when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and I'm fairly certain, though I could be wrong, that this was another one of those bootleg ones my grandpa recorded off Disney Channel and then bootlegged down to me on a recorded VHS.
Gotcha.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. VHS.
Imagine things back then were just a touch easier when it came to getting versions of this stuff. But I'm fairly certain that's where I first watched it. But for whatever reason, I think it's just far enough back in my memory that a lot of stuff I forgot.
Okay.
I had forgotten Bagheera existed.
Really?
Yeah. I only knew Bagheera was in there because I have seen the live action version.
Okay.
So I kind of forgotten about Bagheera before I saw the live action one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forgotten he was raised by wolves.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, remember Bare Necessities because I don't think there's a person alive.
No, I don't think
who doesn't know Bare Necessities.
No, it's
a great song.
It's probably the most
and of course, Baloo is a great character. I remembered the elephants, but I don't know why I remembered the elephants. I think, and I could be wrong here, I had one of those Disney sing-along songs VHSs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it had the elephants and, of course, Bare Necessities on
it.
I think that's how I mostly watched those two particular spots. But I could be wrong there.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it back when I was a kid, and I definitely enjoyed it now. I didn't watch it till yesterday.
Okay.
But because it's easier to keep it on my mind when it's only 24 hours.
Right.
But I was impressed with a number of things that I think I can talk about without being spoilery.
Yeah.
The music is very 60s.
Yeah. Yes. Very, very much
so. You kind of.
It's got that swing
it's
and
amazing.
Jazz.
It is amazing how much in common musically, sound wise, that the Jungle Book has with Batman 1966.
You are so right. You're so right on that.
And I don't know why that's what. I know it's made around the same time, but with different composers. But there's still that very light, slow jazz for most of the audio that that in Batman is during that part where he and Miss Kitska are on their date. Kitska. But for whatever reason, that was something that the background music I didn't remember. Before watching this, but I remembered most of the songs. You can definitely tell when the Sherman Brothers come in.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely,
because they stand out.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, because when we watched Batman the movie
for Movie of the Week
podcast and watching that, and now reflecting upon watching this, there's so many similarities music wise. Because there's the swing and the jazz and just oh my gosh, I love the music in this movie, love it. So I
think. Could be wrong here. I think we've reached the end of our spoiler-free section.
I think so.
So we're going to take a short break.
Okay.
I'm saying that mostly for the people in the chat right now.
Yeah.
We'll come back here in a bit, and we will get into our spoiler-filled section for The Jungle Book.
Yep.
And
the following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie The Jungle Book. Listener discretion is advised. The Jungle Book was directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, and if I said that, my apologies. He was also the director on The Aristocats, The Sword and the Stone, and Robin Hood. It was written by Larry Clemens, who also wrote The Rescuers, The Aristocats, and Robin Hood. Ralph White, who also wrote The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Lady and the Tramp, and Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
Ken Anderson, who also wrote Cinderella, Robin Hood, and The Aristocats. It's Jerry, who also wrote The Great Mouse Detective, Hercules, and The Aristocats.
I'm hearing
There's a pattern here.
There's a pattern. There's always patterns.
Seems to be. It was inspired by the Mowgli stories written by Rudyard Kipling. This was by George Burns, who also wrote the music for Robin Hood and Sword in the Stone. And the songs were written by Richard Sherman and Robert Sherman, who wrote the music for Winnie the Pooh, Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and are this week's Kingdom Hearts connection.
Oh, no! The Kingdom Hearts connections. There's
always comes in. Yes,
there's always one.
And this was a little bit of a stretch, admittedly, because the music for Winnie the Pooh
always a stretch.
It's not always a stretch.
Not always, but sometimes they
Sometimes it is, and this is one of those music stretches because technically, they didn't write the music that appears in Kingdom Hearts,
right?
But the music is based on what they wrote for the Winnie the Pooh sections of Kingdom Hearts.
Well, to be fair, there are a lot of connections with Kingdom Hearts.
Yes,
there are a lot of connections.
Surprisingly, how many there are?
Yes.
So we'll get into the cast. Phil Harris plays Baloo. He, of course, reprises. Well, I say reprise. He's also Little John in Robin Hood, and O'Malley in The Aristocats.
Oh yeah,
the big orange cat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely Baloo. When I first watched it, I was like, wait, that sounds really familiar. When you say it now, it's like, oh yeah, it's definitely Baloo.
Oh yeah,
just in cat form.
Sebastian Cabot plays Bagheera.
Yeah.
He was Sir Ector in The Sword and the Stone, and was the narrator in Winnie the Pooh.
Ah.
Bruce Reitherman played Mowgli. He was Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh. Oh. And he wrote, directed, and produced many nature documentaries. In fact, that is pretty much the rest of his filmography is nature documentaries.
Oh yeah, and also he was the son. He was the director's son.
Yes, which I didn't put together till just now, and I saw their last names.
Yeah,
my apologies.
Yeah,
George Sanders plays Shere Khan.
Yeah,
and in the 1960s Batman series, he played Mr. Freeze.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a much different Mr. Freeze than we used to.
We could.
But I could see Shere Khan in the modern Mr. Freeze role too, if we're being honest.
Oh, now I have a.
Now you. I just gave you a drawing prompt.
Yes, you did. That's going to be funny.
All right, Sterling.
that might happen.
Right,
might happen.
Sterling Holloway was the voice of Kaa.
Mm-hmm.
He was Winnie the Pooh in Winnie the Pooh.
Really?
Which I kind of was hearing that in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I have to pause and look this up right now because it's going to bug me otherwise. And yes, that is the same voice actor. You will never hear Winnie the Pooh the same again.
No, you won't. That is be like...
But in a much more fitting role, he was the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland.
I can hear that. I can definitely hear that now.
And in The Aristocats, he played Roquefort, which it's been so long since I've seen The Aristocats, I don't remember who this character is.
Roquefort.
Okay. I'm guessing with a name like that, he must be a mouse who likes cheese.
Who knows?
It's a guess. I have no idea.
Yeah, anybody in the chat who knows who that character is, let us know.
Louis Prima played King Louis.
Bop-a-doo-bop.
And he is a swing and jazz musician, primarily.
Yeah, there's a fun story behind that.
Almost all of his other credits are music credits, and most of the time he wrote the song that is appearing in whatever it is. So,
yeah, interesting story about that. The when the Sherman Brothers were writing this, they were like, "Oh, we got to get this guy to be King Louis." What was his name again?
Louis Prima.
Louis Prima. So apparently they Walt and the Sherman Brothers flew down to Las Vegas where he was performing, and he pitched it. And he was like, I got to do it. I got to do this. And literally dragged his band back to California and performed it. Performed because they're a swing band. And the animators are just like, they're hearing this music. They're like, what in the world is going on here? And they all hop down to the studio. They're all like moving and grooving because they're swing players. So that was, I was like, that was the coolest because I was watching the featurettes and the documentaries. It's so much fun.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the 60s were a weird time. Let's say that, but the music was cool.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So J. Pat O'Malley plays Colonel Hathy, the elephant.
Oh yeah.
And a character named Buzzy, which I believe is one of the vultures.
Yes, he's one of the vultures.
He played the roles of Colonel and Jasper in 101 Dalmatians.
That makes sense now.
And the walrus in Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
Verna Felton played his wife Winifred, but she is more commonly known as the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
And Fairy Godmother in Cinderella.
Okay. She's very
such a wide, diverse character.
Yes.
Clint Howard was one of the elephants. And the main thing I know him from, I'm sure other people know him from other things.
Yeah.
But he was Baylock in Star Trek, the original series. Now, for those of you who are wondering what I'm referring to,
yeah,
if you've ever seen the end credits of Star Trek, the big green alien head. You remember that?
Which movie?
It's usually it's the TV series.
Oh, okay.
At the usually the last picture in the end credits.
Okay.
No. Anyway, that's not him, but that's from that episode.
Okay.
Clint Howard played the little baby alien that was actually controlling the big giant green puppet head.
Oh, okay.
So that's a good episode, actually. The Corbomite maneuver. Go check that out.
Okay.
But also Clint Howard. Clint Howard is the brother of Ron Howard.
Oh yeah, that's right.
OP in Andy Griffith's Show and director of many, many things, including Star Wars. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Chad Stewart was another vulture.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have many acting credits, I noted, but he had the same... over and over again, I saw this essentially the same credit for different things.
Yeah.
He wrote a song called A Summer Song. And I had to look it up and listen to it. Because I was like, okay, if this is in so many things, like Men in Black 3,
okay, I
had to look it up.
Okay.
You should go look it up too, because you'll be surprised. It's like it's like the most soothing summer song. I usually hear it it's usually used ironically.
Yeah.
Like, there's this big action scene, and then they're playing this song to kind of counteract it as a joke.
Okay.
It's a very calm, soothing song. Yet I still can see bullets flying in the middle of it in my head.
Okay.
But
yeah.
he wrote that song.
Okay, so interesting point, because the Vultures, because you mentioned the Vultures, their song. You know who that was originally for?
The Beatles.
Yeah, you might think. But
it's very obvious that's the Beatles.
Yeah, well, apparently when they were pitching an idea, they were in talks and in contract with the Beatles to do it. But then Walt Disney decided to be like, well, that's going to be a little dated. It
would have been fine.
It would have been perfectly fine.
Right.
And oh my gosh, the Beatles in a Disney movie, that would have been fun. But it never happened.
So the last vulture that I have credited on here was played by Lord Tim Hudson. In The Aristocats, he played an English cat. Makes sense.
Like you do.
But in reality, he was an English DJ, but he's not actually a lord.
It's a stage.
It's his stage name.
But
I thought that was funny.
What I thought.
Yeah. John Abbott played one of the wolves. And the interesting one I found for him was he played Dr. Frankenstein IV in the Munsters. In other words, he's the guy who created Herman Munster.
Oh.
Or the Frankenstein that created Herman Munster.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then Ben Wright played a different wolf. He was Herr Zeller in The Sound of Music.
Oh.
Roger in 101 Dalmatians.
Ah.
And Grimsby in The Little Mermaid.
That was his last role.
And last but most certainly not least, Darlene Carr played the girl. That's how her role is credited.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And her most prominent role, as in the one most repeated on IMDb, was the character Margot in Hanna-Barbera's The Greatest Adventure, which was essentially a series of Bible stories.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was interesting. So that's what I've got for the cast and crew. What do we got in box office?
All right, box office wise.
I don't know why I'm putting this down. I need it for the next part.
All right, so we when we do this, we kind of go through the what its rankings are and where you can find it and production and what have you. So let's go through that. All right, so on IMDb, it's 7.6 out of 5, which is good, which is really good. Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 87%, and its audience score is 82.
Okay.
Weird. All right, and its Metascore is a 65. Okay, so that's our scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch it, obviously, on Disney+. Where you can watch it, you obviously watch it on Disney+. You can watch it, you can download the app Movies Anywhere, which is, it's linked with Disney, so you can use the rewards you buy the movies. Or you buy a physical copy, you can download the digital, and you can get points from there, or something like that. You can download from there, watch them, or you can basically you can buy them from anywhere right now. I think just preferably get them by legal means.
Yes,
no pirating, please. All right, so
leave that for a certain Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so production obviously was Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Mm-hmm.
It was distributed by Walt Disney Pictures. It was released October 18th, 1967. It had an estimated budget of $4 million. Its opening weekend was $5.2 million. It's already made its budget back.
Mm-hmm.
That's not including promotions and advertising and all the good jazz. Definitely for the 60s. Its U.S. gross was $141.8 million, and its worldwide gross was $210.3 million. So yes, this movie blew its budget out of the water.
Yes, it did.
It was a phenomenal success. So that is our budget and all that production jazz. So yeah.
All right. Well, then I'll get into the summary.
All right.
So we can get on into our review.
Summarize this.
So, Mowgli, a young orphan boy, is found in a basket in the deep jungles of India by Bagheera, a black panther who promptly takes him to Rashka, a mother wolf who has just had cubs. She and her mate, Rama, raise him along with their own cubs, and after 10 years, Mowgli becomes well acquainted with jungle life and plays with his wolf siblings. Bagheera is pleased with how happy Mowgli is now, but also worries that Mowgli must eventually return to his own kind. One night, the wolf pack parents meet at Council Rock, having learned that Shere Khan, a man-eating Bengal tiger, has returned to the wolf pack's part of the jungle. Pack leader Akela decides that Mowgli must leave the jungle for his own safety. Bagheera volunteers to escort him to a man village. They leave that very night, but Mowgli is determined to stay in the jungle. He and Bagheera rest in a tree for the night, where Kaa, a hungry Indian python, tries to devour Mowgli, but Bagheera intervenes. The next morning, Mowgli tries to join the elephant patrol led by Colonel Hathi and his wife Winifred. Bagheera finds Mowgli, but after a fight decides to leave Mowgli on his own. Mowgli soon meets up with the laid-back, fun-loving sloth bear Baloo, who promises to raise Mowgli himself and never take him to the man village. Shortly afterward, a group of monkeys kidnap Mowgli and take him to their leader, King Louie the orangutan. King Louie offers to help Mowgli stay in the jungle if he will tell Louie how to make fire, like other humans. However, since he was not raised by humans, Mowgli does not know how to make fire. Bagheera and Baloo arrive to rescue Mowgli, and in the ensuing chaos, King Louie's palace is demolished to rubble. Bagheera and Baloo arrive to rescue Mowgli, and in the ensuing chaos, King Louie's palace is demolished to rubble. Bagheera speaks to Baloo that night and convinces him that the jungle will never be safe for Mowgli with Shere Khan around. In the morning, Baloo reluctantly explains to Mowgli that the man village is best for him, but Mowgli accuses him of breaking his promise and runs away. As Baloo sets off in search of Mowgli, Bagheera rallies the help of Hathi and his patrol. However, Shere Khan himself, who was eavesdropping on Bagheera and Hathi's conversation, is now determined to hunt and kill Mowgli himself. Meanwhile, Mowgli encounters Kaa once again, who attempts to eat him, but he escapes thanks to the unwitting intervention of the suspicious Shere Khan. As a storm gathers, a depressed Mowgli encounters a group of friendly vultures who accept Mowgli as a fellow outcast. Shere Khan appears shortly after, scaring off the vultures and confronting Mowgli. Baloo rushes to the rescue and tries to keep Shere Khan away from Mowgli, but is nearly killed when lightning strikes a nearby tree and sets it ablaze. The vultures swoop in to distract Shere Khan while Mowgli grabs a large flaming branch and ties it to the tiger's tail. Shere Khan, who is terrified of fire, panics and runs away. Bagheera and Baloo take Mowgli to the edge of the man village, but Mowgli is still hesitant to go there. However, his mind abruptly changes when he is smitten by a beautiful young girl from the village who is coming down by the riverside to fetch water. After noticing Mowgli, she accidentally drops her water pot. Mowgli retrieves it for her and follows her into the man village. After Mowgli shrugs to Baloo and Bagheera to show that he has made up his mind and chosen to go to the man village, Baloo and Bagheera decide to head home, content that Mowgli is safe and happy with his own kind. So, let's get into our likes.
All right.
For this movie. What's your first like?
My first like. Now, for our audience out there, for our Facebook Live audience, we do three likes and 3 dislikes of our film, and then we give our rating. All right, so my first like would be the backgrounds. The backgrounds, beautiful. Oh, wow, beautifully painted. They did use a little bit of what is that technique called?
Layering.
Yeah,
for the
backgrounds.
Yeah, there's a special camera that Disney created.
Yeah,
that would have been, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a 4-layer camera.
Yeah,
allows them to move parts in the foreground separate from the background and so on and so forth to create some interesting effects.
Yes, I mean, like they do a spectacular in this, and a lot of the background paintings. Be like, if you've ever seen a one of these paintings, they're huge. Yeah. They're huge and they're beautiful. They're all most of them are acrylic painted, some are oiled, and they are just spectacularly well done. And if I had the financial means to get a hold of one of these, I would and put it up. And just be like, that's a conversation piece. Where did you get that? Well, let me tell you a story. And there's a lot of animation stuff I would love to have, for the lack of words. I've just forgotten. But I would be like, yeah, my house would be full of it. But yeah, just
that doesn't take much the size of our apartments.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, the backgrounds are just spectacular, just beautiful beyond belief. What's your first?
My first like is going to have to be the story.
Oh, okay.
This is a fairly simple story. It's essentially it's almost a road trip movie, even though they're not on any roads.
No.
Except for the one they're on a path, we'll say. But it is very much a road trip movie between Mowgli and Bagheera for most of it, and they happen to pick up the weird hitchhiker named Baloo, who I think comes along with them almost as a second father to
he does
Mowgli. And it's just one of the weird things is, like, technically his wolf father is his father.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell, because he's the one who actually raised him. But this last couple steps, it's all between Bagheera and Baloo to actually raise him. And really, Baloo does not have that much.
Yeah.
Just because of circumstances. But the idea of that it's a journey.
Mhm.
We're moving from wherever the wolf family is
Right.
to this man village that is at the very least 3 days away.
Yeah.
To get him back home, despite the fact that when he gets to the man village,
Yeah.
he is probably going to be trained as a man. So at some point he's going to go hunting, and he could, without realizing it, hunt down Baloo or Bagheera or any of these animals in here. And yet they are, at least Baloo and Bagheera are perfectly fine with this, getting him back to where he belongs.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting concept. Baloo does try to say, okay, well, I'll raise you to be a bear.
Yeah.
Because that's what I know, and I'd love to hang out with you. And Bagheera does want to get Mowgli back to his home.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of weird. I in some ways don't understand why Bagheera couldn't do that when he was still a baby. But that wouldn't make for a story.
No.
For the main thing. And it does say that, he was low on, if he didn't eat something soon, he was going to die. And it was I think he even said it was a 3-day journey to the closest man village.
Yeah. He had to find substance for this little
right.
child.
So he takes it to a wolf family.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just it's a simple story. But it's not a story that needs to be complex.
No.
It is a story about 3 friends going on a journey, and one of these friends is doing his dead level best to not finish the journey because he really doesn't want to leave his friends.
No.
But at the same time, of course, a young lady comes between him and his friends and drags him off to his new life.
Uh-huh.
So, and he seems pretty happy about it at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a fun, simple story, and I enjoy it.
Okay.
What's your number 2 like?
My number 2 is going along the same lines. I love the story. There's a phrase which Walt Disney used all the time, was make it fun and characters.
Mm-hmm.
That was his big element when it comes to stories, was just making it fun, entertaining, and your characters. And that was one of his big pushes with the film itself. Interesting note on the film, on the script originally. Mm-hmm. It was a much different script, much different. Apparently, because we get to know what Mowgli's birth name was, we get to meet his parents. Mm-hmm. We get to meet. Apparently, it wasn't sheer. It wasn't. He just washed up in a wrecked canoe. There was a whole backstory to that. Apparently, Shere Khan had attacked the man village, and kind of like a Moses in India.
I think this comes up in the new movie, the live action movie.
Oh, okay, didn't know that.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, there was one of the original writers. No, it was the original director. I'm sorry. I think it was the original director who wrote this entire thing of what he thought the Jungle Book should have been. But Disney, Walt, just he didn't like it. It was too dark. It didn't focus on the fun and the joy and the characters so much. Mm-hmm. So they had a falling out, and they weren't able to make amends by the time Walt passed. But apparently the man in question had a lot of very good things to say about Walt Disney and his memoirs. But the story itself it's like you said, it's very simple. Mm-hmm. Very simple, but very fun. Very fun, very memorable. And it's got its quirks. It's got so many little memorable moments that just cling to you, and just, there again, that's why it's one of those films that we have such nostalgia for. Mm-hmm. Even though we don't remember half of it. Apparently, but I enjoy it. There's the journey in which our characters are on, and Mowgli trying to wanting to be in the jungle, but then where he needs to be is among humans, mm-hmm. in which he's very well adapted as a human. Yeah. Have you read stories of where wild feral children have been brought back into the civilization? It's not a fun transition.
I mean, this is more like the Tarzan concept, where
right.
he's raised by the animals, but he's still man.
Yeah, that is true. But it's a fun story. Fun story that's just packed full of funny moments, a lot of great songs, and like you said, the ending, just the fact that Mobley was so steadfast of just be like, I'm going to stay with you guys. I want to stay in the jungle. I want to be a
all the
bear.
way until he hears her voice
and hears her song, which oddly enough, because if you go back to the beginning of the movie, be like that melody which you hear, she's singing that melody.
Yeah.
And it goes full circle, and we can definitely thank the Sherman Brothers for that. And so we have Mowgli, who was so dead set, I'm going to be a bear, I'm going to live in the jungle with my friends. And then here comes this this young lady who sweeps him off his feet, be like, carry my water for me, please.
Yes.
And he goes into his life in the man village.
Of course, what we don't know, because of where the movie ends,
right?
We don't know how well he adjusted to being in the man village.
No, we don't.
We don't know what craziness happened there.
There is a Jungle Book 2.
And I've not watched it.
Me either.
And I don't want to watch it. That's the thing about those 90s and 2000 era straight to home video sequels. They're usually not that good.
No, some of them are good, some of them are not. I would say one that I enjoyed as a kid was Return of Jafar.
That's the exception to that rule.
Yeah.
That one, and I would say I like The Lion King 1.5.
Yeah, I keep hearing really good,
just because that's just a funny.
Yeah, I keep hearing really funny things about that. The one that blew the socks out of me when it comes to those direct-to-video sequels was Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time.
Yeah, I haven't done that one yet.
I watched it a couple of months ago. I had watched the second one because a friend of mine from high school and college be like, apparently her mom was a huge Disney fan. And so she had asked me over, and so we watched it, and this was the oddest movie on the planet because it was a bunch of shorts, and it was just, it was different. Let's say that.
All right.
Let's say that. But yeah, like sequels are always a hit and miss. Always hit and miss. So yeah, okay. So yeah, so what is your number? Where we at?
It's my number 2.
Yeah, your number 2.
So my number 2 are the songs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'll admit Bare Necessities and Friend Like You, or is it Friend Like Me?
Friend Like Me.
Friend Like Me. Those are the two main ones that have stuck in my head since I was a kid.
Gotcha.
Even though Friend Like Me was only part of it. But listen to like the Elephant March was fun. The even her song at the end was, while it was a simple song, it is the kind of song you would expect a child to sing, and it was done very well. But it's not just those songs; it is also how it ties into the rest of the composition.
Yeah,
sometimes with musical movies, when you don't have the composers and the songwriters aren't the same people, the music doesn't mesh very well every time.
Okay.
This one, while it jumps between the soft jazziness of, well, the background music in this to some more classic Disney bombastic kind of stuff. Strangely enough, despite that jump, it fits in a way that I can't explain very well.
Okay.
I'll just admit. But then, of course, you get to the best song in the movie, the one they repeated 3 times, Bare Necessities. That is such a classic song.
Okay.
It is Hakuna Matata before Hakuna Matata.
Yes, I would agree with you on that.
And in many ways, I think it's better than Hakuna Matata, which I know for some people is heresy. But
probably.
It was just such a fun song, and it's just fun to sing, and yeah, I just enjoy it. So yeah, What's your third like?
My third like would actually be but like when I was writing the notes, I didn't think about this scene. I love this scene. Is the confrontation? I'm probably using the wrong word. The fight between where Shere Khan comes in and tries to kill Mowgli, and Baloo intervenes, and that how it's very well animated, and just the pure savagery of how like you don't see anything, but you feel that impact of like Shere Khan is literally killing Baloo, and the fact that like when everything's said and done, that Mowgli has tied Shere Khan's tail with the branch of fire, and he goes running off. We don't know if he actually was killed because of that. That'd be very interesting if we learned that or not. But it comes down to Baloo's quote unquote death of Bagheera's what is that word? His help me out. What's that?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
It's a fake out, but
obviously, but it's what Bagheera is.
When he gives that memorial, no, that's not. It's a memorial speech, but it's eulogy.
Eulogy. Thank you. Like we always forget words, or I forget words a lot.
Hey, I have brain farts just like you do.
We all do, and so.
That's the magic of it. That's what the magic of editing is
yes,
for.
Yes, it is. And so while Bagheera is giving his grand speech about his friend and how he is missed and how he is loved, and be like, Baloo is, he's slowly waking up, and he's like, man, that's beautiful. Say it, brother. Be like, I wish my mother was here to hear this, and it's so great.
And I'm
Bagheera is just going through.
How is Bagheera not hearing Baloo right now? He should be assuming just vaguely that maybe Baloo is still alive.
Yeah,
and he's playing possum.
Yeah, and so this. Like that entire scene where it's come on Mowgli, let's go, and be like, hey, wait, you're just getting to the best part, and it's like that was perfect.
Yeah,
it's like, huh, what
that was the best way that you got the sacrifice, plus the happy ending.
Yeah, the comedy relief.
It not every movie can pull off that kind of fake out death where it's where it feels like the sacrifice was still worth it, while still giving you the happy ending.
Right.
Because so many times when they do the happy ending, it makes the rest of it feel pushed and awkward.
Yeah, it does.
It cheapens the death. This one really doesn't cheapen the death that much.
No, but you be like, we as an audience, we're allowed to see that Baloo is not dead, but all our characters don't know that yet.
Right.
But it's a very satisfying ending, and definitely the ending of the movie is so good, where Baloo and Bagheera go walking off the sunset singing Bare Necessities.
Yes. Despite the fact Bagheera shouldn't be able to walk like that.
Yeah, no.
But I let it slide because it's a nice ending.
Yeah, it's a very good ending.
So yeah, my third is the animation on Ka.
Oh,
mostly during the scene, the second time we see him.
Yeah.
Where he hypnotizes Mowgli and almost gets to the point where he can eat him, but then Shere Khan intervenes, and that whole acting, that whole back and forth, that entire scene is such gold in between.
It is.
Khan and Ka. Ka and Khan.
Yeah.
Khan! Sorry. We said that enough. I had to get that in there. That bit of rivalry between the two.
Oh, yes.
In that talk back and forth where Shere Khan is he's being the smooth talker. It's like, I'm in command, I'm in control of the situation, and Ka knows it, but Ka's just slippery enough to hide the fact that Mowgli is up there. Even when he shows him the end of his tail, he shows him he's not eating them, and then he asks for the middle and does that little unwinding thing to get the center. It's like, you didn't think this completely through, Shere Khan. You should have gotten the whole snake on the ground just to make sure. But you know what? I'll let it slide. And I think, believe it or not, I was doing some reading on this.
Yeah.
And while I've not read the original book, I think Ka was not really a bad guy in the book, from what I understand. And this is the only part of that non-bad guyness that got through to the movie, because Disney decided that he wasn't sure kids would be able to relate with a snake who was a good guy.
Yeah.
And I think this is the only part that from that actually got through to that, because it's not that, and ironically, it's not because Ka is trying to save Mowgli's life in this instance. He's just trying to save him long enough so that he can enjoy him, and then Mowgli outsmarts him and gets him tied up, and that ending where Ka's slinking off into it, and it's like half of his coils are broken, is hilarious.
It is very funny.
It's even funnier than in the first time when we see him and he gets his tail in a knot, which gets him stuck in a tree, which is funny too.
That happens again.
But yeah, it's the animation, with the smoothness of the animation, especially during the song, and how his movements correspond with the words, is just so well done. And I enjoyed that part of it, even though I usually hate snakes, and I don't really like the snakes here.
No.
But Ka is such an interesting character. But yeah.
I hate snakes, Jacques. I hate them.
Exactly. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Anyway, that brings us to the end of our likes. So now we will move into our dislikes.
All right.
What was your first dislike?
My first dislike, you touched on it. Was
because for the first time I can actually
you can see my notes. My first dislike would actually be how they reuse like most of Ka's animation.
How do you say it's been reused?
Okay, so
I'm just asking for clarification.
Okay, easy. So when the first time where Ka is pulled down from the tree, where Mowgli pulls him, has him, knocks him off, be like, and so when it happens again, it's the exact same animation.
Okay,
the exact same animation.
I didn't notice it, but okay,
exact same animation. So when he falls down and he starts, going through the woods, it's the exact same scene. They just delayed his vocal performance. Yeah, it's the exact same. They just reused it.
I'll admit, looking at your notes, I was afraid you were going to bring up how it was used in Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah.
Afraid you'd gotten the movies mixed.
No. Because
that's more Robin Hood's fault, because they copied this movie.
Yes, they did. A lot. So yeah, there was a lot of reuse of animation with Ka. And yeah.
Well, admittedly, Ka has got to be a hard character to animate. Despite how well the animation is done throughout the rest of this, a little bit of copy paste like that doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The fact that Ka is very well animated, and you're one cut costs, that kind of stuff. I understand it.
Yeah,
but reusing that entire animation sequence.
I will say I have seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
When it comes to reuse animation.
Yeah.
In other things.
Right.
So.
But yeah, that was one of the things that kind of pointed out to me. Is like, wait a minute, that's the same animation, the exact same animation. But yeah. So what is your dislike number one?
My first dislike of the Jungle Book is a very good question. This is a movie I actually like, so dislikes are actually harder for me to come up with, even though I know I need them. I I guess my first main dislike is how Shere Khan, while mentioned throughout the movie, never shows up until like the last last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And is gone before the last 10 minutes of the movie. And he's only really got one scene that's not him learning about Mowgli and him attacking Mowgli.
Yeah.
And in that one, it's just him talking to Kaa, which I like. Don't get me wrong. But for a villain who is not... I mean, okay. In monster movies, it's traditional, especially like Jaws.
Okay.
To not show the character until like the end, or show it very sparingly.
Right.
That doesn't really work with Shere Khan to me. Shere Khan is, well, to bring in a character who shares the same part of the same name. Khan in Star Trek II would not be as good a character if he didn't show up until the climax. The fact that he comes in and is eating up the scenery throughout so much of that movie is what makes him a good character in that movie.
Yeah.
I want something similar for Shere Khan in this movie. I want him to show up more. Now, I do know, for those of you who have seen the live action Jungle Book, Shere Khan is in more of the movie. But for whatever reason, the way that movie handles it, it doesn't work as well. And I do like the actor's performance in this movie as Shere Khan. And I just want more of it. It's the fact that we don't have more of that, and we don't have and I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm wanting one or two more scenes. You could easily had Shere Khan show up the first time we run into the elephants.
Yeah.
And have a similar conversation, because maybe Mowgli has run off and found Baloo, and Bagheera doesn't know he's with Baloo yet. You could easily have that scene there, and then have more scenes of Shere Khan stalking Mowgli throughout the movie. Now, admittedly, would not have as fun a movie as and that might even be what was in that original script you were talking about. I'm still of the thought he's not a good villain, in the fact that we only hear his name a couple times. We know he's a tiger, but we don't see him till the end. And even then, he's defeated so quickly that I don't feel... In many ways, Shere Khan is the type of villain that you should feel threatened by as an audience member.
Yeah.
And you never feel that with Shere Khan in this movie. I don't feel... There's a couple times where you can kind of feel that threaten, but it doesn't quite get there, because it's only one scene where it feels like Shere Khan is talking about, this is what I'm going to do when I catch that little man cub. We don't really get any more of that. We don't even really understand, outside the fact that Shere Khan... We're told throughout the movie why they're afraid of Shere Khan learning of Mowgli. But even then, I don't feel that final scene is earned when they're with the vultures and they're doing that barbershop quartet thing, and he comes in with the bass.
Oh, I love that.
Which is a great scene. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's not earned as well for the character to do that, because it's like, okay, he's there. We knew we was going to catch up with him, because now that they're actually showing the character, it's obvious he's going to show up at the climax. We don't get the dread of that character showing up in that scene in this movie, because we don't get the character's only been in the movie for 10-15 minutes to this point.
Yeah.
I just want more of him there. Is what it comes down to.
All right. So my second dislike would be the era of the photocopy for Disney, which happened probably about the mid 60s to about the 80s. It'd be like about the mid 80s, where like it was a good cheap way to cut down production. But you had the flaw of, because originally, as most people know, that the original artist render, the pencil, would be passed on to an inker.
Right.
And that would be inked over, and then be passed on to the painter, who would paint over that celluloid, and that'd be photocopied.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they decided to be like, well, let's see if we can bypass. Be like, this photocopying sounds really good. So they would copy everything. Well, the only
I could see maybe copying the ink stage and then still drawing over it in the celluloid, but
yeah, that does sound like a good idea, but no.
okay. I'm just thinking if they're copying, it should be a way that it should work. Is all I'm saying.
But it works. But only the problem is you get artist lines everywhere, where like rough lines that should have been, should not be there in the original, the final product.
Right, and then when they go to do paint, they paint to the wrong line.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I follow you now.
They paint to the wrong line, or it shows up very clearly in the finished product. And
these are things you notice far faster than I do because I'm so much of a digital artist. I don't even deal with visible guidelines.
Yeah. Well, I'd be like, they still did a very good job when it came to the inking process. Like, not inking, but the painting process. Just the photocopying error just drives me nuts. Because it's so clear that it's...
Yeah, it's lost some of that organicness.
Yeah, I think someone said that very clearly. That it had lost a lot of its shine to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you no longer had like really crisp lines. You saw all the artist guidelines and everything. So it was just more of a very annoying error. So that's my one. It's a nitpick. It's a nitpick. Let's say that it's a nitpick to the process of the time. What is your number?
My second dislike is how disconnected this movie is in many places.
Okay.
I know as a movie that's a journey, you enter areas, you talk to people, you don't ever come back to them after you leave that section of the movie.
Right.
Because you've left them behind. But here's the thing. The elephants, they're obviously close enough that the elephants can show back up near the second third of the movie.
Right.
Ka follows them, obviously, throughout most of the movie. And they've made... they're not on good terms with King Louis.
Yeah.
After they leave there. And King Louis is a weird spot in and of the fact that it's a good place for that character to be in, but they never come back to that. King Louis comes out of nowhere and then leaves. As much as I like the King Louis segment, it could almost have been completely left out and not changed the movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
Which is annoying in many ways.
Yeah, because you would miss the entire great musical and the fight in that.
Right, but at the same time, everything brought up in that segment about King Louis wanting Man's Red Fire, King Louis being an antagonist of sorts in that section. I mean, we don't learn anything about Shere Khan in that section.
Yeah.
It comes and goes, and if you did cut out that section, you would go from Mowgli and Baloo on the pond to essentially just seeing Mowgli and Baloo and Bagheera with black eyes. But you could bring that up in a fight elsewhere. That's the only real thing you lose is why they've got black eyes.
Yeah.
Which is odd seeing animals with black eyes.
Yeah.
Human style black eyes, to be specific. Of course, I don't know if animals, if they got punched, would get black eyes like that.
Yeah, but... Yeah.
I've not studied veterinarian biology.
No.
But, as much as I love that section and it's a nice area, it has the same problem that I had with the alligator guy in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, okay.
It happens. They have a good reason for it to be there so that you can't really take it out. But for the most part, it's a sidetrack that is not really important to the story.
It's almost like padding.
Almost. But unlike the alligator part, I actually, in All Dogs, I actually like King Louis' section here. Now, in something that the live action movie does better.
Okay.
Because they are doing more to bring in Shere Khan throughout the whole story, the fact that Shere Khan hates fire as his weakness comes up more. So in that version, it's more clear that King Louis wants fire, not just to make him be more human, which is kind of all you really get from that here. You get the idea that he's using that. He wants the fire to protect the all his monkey clan,
his kingdom.
Monkey kingdom, to protect it from Shere Khan, because they're all. One thing that's not really clear is that Shere Khan is the predator, the main predator, in the movie. He's the king of the jungle outside of, and the only thing that really can
threaten
challenge that is man. Which is the real reason why he's wanting to get rid of Mowgli. That is not very clear here. It's just like, oh, he hates men. We don't know why. That's why he wants to kill Mowgli. He's because he hates men. He doesn't want to get shot by them. No, his goal, and I think that's even true here, even though they don't go into it. Shere Khan's entire goal as a villain is to be the king of the jungle, like his lion brethren over on the next continent over. And man's the only thing that can threaten him. So fire is really the main threat to Shere Khan's rule. And Shere Khan doesn't know or care if Mowgli's got the ability to get fire. So King Louis wanting fire makes more sense in that. Here, you have to read into it a lot as to those lines about wanting man's red fire, what that actually means. That's a little disappointing to me. But yeah. What is your third dislike?
My third dislike, it's not really a dislike, it's kind of like a sad, it's a sad part to the film. That the great and late Walt Disney never saw the finished product of the film. He died in 1960. This film was made in 67. He died in 66. He died a year before it was fully completed. He had seen like most of the storyboarding, but he never saw the full animation. He never saw everything put together. So it is really, because this was his last project. He was the one he really invested into it, but he never had the chance or the opportunity to see everything before he died of lung cancer. So in a way, it's very sad that you have the man who reinvigorate or was the father of animation himself, never got to see his last project completed. And that's just kind of like, it's a sad little note to end on. That would be like the man himself never got to see his a project he was really invested in completed. And if you were they had done interviews with his daughters and his wife, and I think one of his daughters is to be like if he would have lived long enough to see it, he would have really enjoyed this film. And yeah, this is my last third. This is the fact that Walt didn't get to see the final production of the Jungle Book.
Yeah, and that is the thing, is this is really the end of that original era of Disney, because while there are movies between here and the dark ages of the 80s that are good and memorable, they are not at the same quality as the movies pre-Jungle Book are.
You don't have that same spark.
Right. And then when you get to, and that's the thing, is because you got up until, I mean, there are different eras during Walt Disney's reign too.
Yeah.
But it's after this that you really see the first real dip in
Yeah.
quality. And it's not even a sharp dip. It's just the obvious things like they're reusing they're using character models for Robin Hood.
Yeah.
They are literally copying the animation skeletons from Sleeping Beauty for Maid Marian in that movie, if I remember correctly. None of the movies from the 70s and 80s really get to that point where, I mean, they're memorable for the kids who grew up with them. They are classics.
Yeah.
But they're not on the they're not going to be in the top list.
No.
Even the best of them don't really hit in the top areas. It's not really till you get back to Little Mermaid where the quality and the nostalgia meet back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that you are right. And that is the end of an era. And it is sad that this was Walt Disney's last movie. Because of course we would love for his genius to have continued.
Yeah.
Not just as a animator, but also as a businessman. I mean, how different would Walt Disney World be today if he'd continued and got to finish his Epcot project the way he originally intended it?
That would have been interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how well it would have worked, but it was an interesting concept.
Well, the thing was that, like, you know, even though Walt had passed, his vision, his imagination still was there because you still had the 9 old men.
Yes.
That were still there. They were still...
Even they could not hold up for long, and they were getting old enough that we're going to need to retire soon.
Yeah.
And admittedly, even if Walt had continued past this point, and had lived to a ripe old age, he would be passed by now, probably.
Yeah, he would.
So we would have, as much as I hate to say I wish he'd gotten to go on and how much different things would be, I can't imagine
what Walt Disney
Walt Disney films would be at this point.
Yeah.
I can't see Walt being happy about the idea of buying Star Wars and Marvel and all these other companies.
Yeah.
That really was not his business style.
No, it wasn't.
And the only reason I don't like, I worry, I wouldn't want that to happen is you can talk all day about how much Disney should not be as big as it is.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong. I wish it wasn't this big either. But Marvel and Lucasfilm and Fox, for that matter, they were not in good shape when they got bought.
No, they weren't.
They needed the help. So anyway, that's just me going off on a tangent.
I gotcha.
My third dislike... In many ways, my third dislike is that how the movie ends. I mean, admittedly, Mowgli going into the village with the girl makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a 180 degree just because he saw a girl.
Yeah. That's like, well,
That
I've
kind
never
of-
seen one before. It's
And I
kinda
know that
closer.
because that's the other thing is there are only 3 other women in the movie. You get his wolf mother.
Yeah.
You get Winifred, the elephant.
Yeah.
Who's also a mother, and you get the
girl.
The girl. Those are the only 3 women in the movie.
True.
They're so, and honestly, we never get to hear the wolf mother talk, so we don't know what her personality is like, other than being maternal.
Yeah.
And Winifred, while you do still get some maternal in there, she's used to dealing with her husband, who's a bit hard-headed.
Yeah.
Because he's an elephant.
Yeah. And an elephant never gets... Oh.
Are you sure? Because I think you just forgot our son.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And then he forgets to say halt.
Yeah.
But anyway, admittedly, I know it was getting to the point where it's like the climax of fighting Shere Khan was done. You had to get him to the village and then finish the movie. There's not anything more than that would have felt like padding. I know this.
Yeah.
it feels like it ends so quickly.
Yeah.
Just because and he's saying, I don't want to go to the man village right up until he hears her voice.
Yeah.
And I know as a kid, kids are easily distracted.
Uh-huh.
And they're also as stubborn as mules on certain topics. And so when something occurs that can make them change their minds, it is sometimes a 180 degree turn. But as fast as it ends, it just feels like it could have been handled better, I guess is really the best way I know how to put it.
Okay.
I don't know how you would have handled it better, but I just kind of wish it had.
Okay. I gotcha.
Anyway, that's my third dislike.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and get into our final ratings.
Yeah, our
for
ratings.
this movie. What are you giving it?
Allergies, you gotta love them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 8.5. Therein, I love this film. I have so much nostalgia for it. It's not even funny. And this isn't really any like knocks against the film. It's got a few little problems, animation, not reuse of animation, and some of the points you said, kind of rang home a little bit. Where Walt had the idea that it's entertainment and your characters, so it doesn't really have this big fat juicy story that's driving the plot. And if you want that, go watch the bonus features on, I think it's the classic DVD featurettes.
Okay.
Yeah, watch those. Those are really good. You get a whole different picture of what the picture was originally going to be until Walt said, no, it's got to be fun and entertaining. This doesn't sound like fun and entertaining to me. But I enjoyed the film. I still am going to enjoy it. I'm giving it an 8.5, and that's not a bad place to be. Not a bad place to be. How about you?
I'm going to give it an 8.5 also. And this is one of those where I can't rate it any lower, but I also don't feel I can rate it any higher. I want to rate it more, but there's just some of this that is not normally in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I still love the movie. But it's well done. It's just not as well done as I would like. Okay. I guess is the best way I know how to put it. I love the movie. It's, like I said, I can't rate it any lower than 8.5.
Okay.
I just feel I can't rate it any higher than 8.5 either.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Cellcast. For those of you who are now listening, we had to end the live stream partially through the episode because of some technical glitches.
Yeah.
So we did not get to finish with people's thoughts because we were waiting for people. We were hoping we'd get some more people talking about this by the end, and we didn't get. And unfortunately, we can't see them now because we had to end the stream. However, I got a text from my mom during the course of our episode.
Okay, what did she say?
And she had some thoughts on the movie. Just to finish this up, she says, I love King Louis, and then she reminds me that this was my grandpa's favorite movie.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So yeah, go ahead and ending that section of our live stream topics there.
Awesome.
Now, you posted on there before we finished that we're doing a giveaway?
Yeah, we will be doing a giveaway. We will be doing, I'm going to get with someone I know that has a little more knowledge of doing giveaways than I do. And so we will work that out. And so for all the people who either watched or commented, your name will be thrown into a drawing or a lottery. And we will draw a name, and whoever name comes to the top and is drawn first will win a copy of Disney's Jungle Book. It's an exclusive cover from Disney Movie Club. It's a Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy. And so yeah, look forward to that in probably a couple of days.
Alrighty. So now that we've reached the end of the episode, we've done all our live stuff we intended to do, even though some of it's after the fact.
Yeah.
We do have one more bit of business to take care of before we start going through our outro, and that is rolling for our next movie. Yes, we know it's been a couple weeks, but it's time to get back to that. So to remind everyone where we're at, currently sitting at number 1 is The Muppet Movie. It has been on this for 4 episodes, or 4 episodes that we're counting, I should say. Lego Batman Movie is sitting at number 2. It has been on here for 1. The Swan Princess is at number 3. It has also been on here at 1.
Yeah.
Aladdin is at number 4, and it has been on 4 episodes. Robin Hood, which I have added since the last one we did. This is its first episode that it's been on here. And last but not least, at number 6, we have Monsters vs. Aliens. It's been on 1 other episode. So, I think I was the last person to roll, because, or at least mine was the last one to get it.
Yeah.
So that means I'm going to allow you to roll the dice.
Okay.
And it looks like we will be rejoining Blue next episode with Robin Hood.
Yeah!
So join us next week for another episode of the Cellcast. If we decide to do it live, we will let you know. Hopefully our kinks will be worked out before the next time we try this. So, join us then, and we'll see you there.
Up all the bare necessities,
the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Man.
Wait a minute, Jacob. Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast.
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
They can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron and Jacob's Daily Art Corner, my personal art Facebook page. On Twitter at Jacob B. Heron. On Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. And on Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. Where can they find you, Drew?
You can find me on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. You can also find my Facebook page at Drew's Photo Bin, where I upload my photography. You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759 and Twitter at GGeorge759. Where can they find us, Jacob?
You can also visit our website, thecellcast.podbean.com, where you will find every episode we released and links to listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Our RSS feed, if we aren't in your favorite podcast app directory, please share, review, and subscribe to us there and share us with your friends.
You will also find a link to our Facebook group, the Double Feature Podcast Community, where we talk about both animated and live-action movies. We share this with our other podcasts, which we do with Jacob's brother Jim, at the Movie of the Week podcast, where we talk about live-action movies. You can also email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please like our page on Facebook. We try to post about upcoming movies. If you comment on that movie's post before we record, we'll read your comments in the episode. And remember, every time we say The Cellcast, that is with a single L.